Okay, guys, so to my knowledge, jury selection is for October 6th, and Jarvis Butts' trial will begin sometime after. Now, remember, if you guys recall, I was saying, we got the holidays coming up, we got Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I don't know if that would interfere or if they care or if they just want to get it over with. I don't know. But I don't know how long it takes for them to pick jurors, maybe a couple days or whatever. But it's supposed to start shortly after that, is what they are saying so far. We already know that the trial location is at the Third Circuit Court. The trial is set for 3 to 4 weeks. That's it. So it's for a month. And basically it's over. It's over. And more than likely, I'm not in law enforcement at all. More than likely, this man is going to get life. He has multiple accounts before he even went into jail of essay on children, and multiple accounts while he was a free man. And then when he got locked up, more accounts came just based off of children. And they're going to pick the ones that they know can bring substantial evidence, that, they have some facts behind, or like people like to say, receipts behind. They're going to make sure that they pick those type of cases. So Jarvis Butts, who is 42 years old, has been charged with premeditated murder and second-degree criminal sexual conduct and child sexual abusive activity. Now, I was talking about this earlier, and premeditated murder, I was like, wow, they're charging him with premeditated murder. But for those of us that have been following this trial closely, I personally, because I know everybody sees things very differently, I personally do not think that this was premeditated. He had all the time in the world, if he wanted to end Naziah's life, to do so. I think that, he gave her something to get rid of the unborn child. And in turn, that is probably what ended her life. I don't think he intentionally meant to kill her. And you remember, guys, when we did the preliminary text messages, when they took his phone and everything, we saw how he was looking up ways to abort a child. Ways you can abort a child by home. The teas, the different things that he was looking up. Nothing in his search engine was saying how to kill a 13-year-old. Nothing was saying that. So we have to keep that in mind as well. He was just trying to get rid of the fetus. Also would like to quickly add on, there are also a lot of people that believe that she is somewhere safe, that he brought her somewhere safe. A lot of people do believe that, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But right now, for the ones that believe he brought her somewhere safe to, quote, have her baby in peace, end quote, why didn't he bring her somewhere safe before all this happened? If he loved her so much, like a lot of people proclaim that he did, and that he wanted to take her away from her insane family, why didn't he do that before all this happened? Why not? He's been getting away with this type of shit too long. And based on all those text messages we went over, the court text messages from pretty much, around the time when things were getting a bit much between the two, he knew that it's a situation where she could possibly be pregnant. And we see that she was pregnant. We see this. And he didn't do nothing about it. Nobody cared. They blamed it on, a autistic man. And there's some shit going on with the autistic man. I didn't even want to get into that, but the autistic man may have been dating the uncle of Naziah. It was crazy. It was getting really crazy. If you try to stick to the basic facts, it could go left real quick when you're dealing with this case and getting information on this case. it could go left real quick. But they tried to base it that maybe she was pregnant by somebody else. That's why she was able to, or this is what they were saying. They knew, in fact, who she was with. They knew. But they tried to, blame it on someone else. But we know when that baby was going to be born, that baby was going to come out looking just like Janiyah. It was going to come out looking just like the father. Okay? So that premeditated murder, I just don't believe it. And that's first degree, I believe. And then you got second degree criminal sexual conduct. And again, child sexual abusive activity involving a 13-year-old Naziah Harris at the time. And on March 7, 2025, the court discussed trial logistics concerning that he was also charged, JB, for the sexual abuse of 2 other young girls, okay? So that's why I said maybe they came with receipts, because to my knowledge, it was more, but they have to kind of wean things down to something that's going to stick when, you're up there at court. Something that's going to stick. So they weaned it down, I guess, to 2 other underage girls. Now, are those girls underage right now? I'm not sure. Or were these older women that, are now trying to put their lawsuit in? So I'm not sure about that, but we'll find out. We will definitely find out. So on June 20th, which is a couple days from now. So on June 20th, that's Friday, Jarvis is due in court for his final conference. I believe this might be a final plea deal for him. They're going to try to offer him his last plea deal. And more importantly, it's will he accept it? I'm not sure if the immediate family has asked about the body. Because remember, we kind of think that the immediate family is kind of suspect. So I don't know if they asked about the body, if they want the body. I'm not sure about that. Someone had actually said, well, maybe, they're going to offer him, if you say where the body is, then we would offer maybe like 40 years. I don't know. We were just trying to throw something out there. So we don't even know if the family is asking for the body because, 95% of us believe the family already knows. The immediate family, the family that was involved in this from day one. So they may not offer. He also said maybe the courts would tell Jarvis, if you say more, like who else was involved, you can get a lesser sentence. So from now, it seems that he's been very tight-lipped. You would think, right? He's been very tight-lipped. As of now, he has. Now, there's something I just want to speak about. So some of we could be all on the same page when this court case begins sometime in October, November. Like in my last Darnell Jones video, that's Kimani Latik's father, I clear up some rumors, or I would say more than likely give my opinion into what I was thinking, because in that case they were targeting specific people that may get arrested, and I just pretty much said what I felt about that situation. So I'm going to do it again in this video right here, what I feel about the other people that a lot of, I'm going to call it spectators, believe that there is going to be other arrests. So unfortunately, Naziah's story, it hasn't changed from the beginning, from the first time we met her. She's been missing. Even to this day, I see random videos of her that I've never seen before. So, she's a little girl, and 13 years social media has been alive. So pretty much for her whole life, she's been on social media for a good part of it, I must say. So the question is, did Jarvis have help?
Were Jarvis Butts, the man charged with sexually assaulting and killing 13-year-old Naziah Harris.
So I'm saying, you was the last one to see her alive, right?
Yeah, before school.
Before school. So what happened?
I told y'all that.
So what happened after school, though?
You figure it out. Y'all got everything, right?
Right thing and tell us where she's at, please. I'm sorry, Judge. Just do it, Jarvis. Where is she at, Jarvis? Just tell us.
She did deserve love from her parents and everyone who was in her life. She was ignored, she was neglected, and you took complete advantage of that. She wanted someone to love her, and she will never know what that feels like.
So the question is, guys, did Jarvis have help? Based on the Harris family, I'm going to sum them all up in one little ball with a bow on it. I'm summing up Grandma Annette and the twins, Shannon and Marquita, mainly Shannon. I'm summing them all up in a ball, okay? When I say the Harris family. Did he have help? Did JB's girlfriends / fiancés, did they intervene? A lot of people were saying some really crazy stuff. So I'm going to go over it really quickly. I don't have all the answers. This is just my opinion. You know, everyone has an opinion, especially when it comes to this situation. But I'm just letting you guys know where I'm coming from with my opinion about this unfortunate story. And I'd like to know if your opinions are the same as mine, or even if it differs as mine. It's okay. We don't have to always agree on everything. So as for, let's start off with JB's, girlfriend / fiance, Latricia Johnson. Let me just correct something right quick. This is just the girlfriend. I believe she is a mother to a daughter, but she was not a fiance. Now, I'm going to refresh everybody's memory. Remember, she is the woman that found the glasses that was in the backseat of the car. And she didn't know that Jarvis was as big as a liar as of what she found out. She was very, it seemed, upset about it. She wanted to hurt him by saying that, she was cheating too, as if Jarvis really cared. But it is what it is, right? And the glasses was in the car. So at one point, Neziah would have had to been in that car, or Jarvis forgot the property. And I don't think he would have intentionally or forgot the property. I just don't think so. So how are we feeling about Latricia? I basically don't think she had an involvement on anything. I think she didn't even, I hate to say this, I think she didn't even care that he was sleeping with his, alleged niece-in-law. I don't think she even really cared about that. It was more when she found out about the other women that she couldn't believe. I think she was more upset about that. So I'm not going to even ramble about that. I don't think Latricia had anything to do with Neziah's disappearance at all. Okay, and then we have Tashina Davis. That was the fiance. Now, she might be a lovely woman, but she's very gullible to believe that this was her fiance that would come anytime after midnight and stay 3 hours and dip. But that was her whole fiance. That's what she thought. And if you remember, she was the one that was very much focused on trying to get into his very locked phone, that she thought that maybe the answer of why she felt like this was going to be in that phone. Sis, you never needed to get in that phone. You knew he was shit to begin with, like all of you did. But there was another circumstance. Remember when he would drive and park away from her house? So yeah, she just wanted to really be in a relationship. And a lot of women are like that, so I'm not going to even fall or pick on her for that. But if he's parking down the street around the corner and he's only staying with you for 3 hours, yeah, he's doing a lot more. But, this is your fiance, the man that you were going to marry one day. Do I think she was a part of it? No. No, I don't. I don't think so. She's the type of woman, I believe, that would probably still write him if she's not writing him, put money on his books and go visit him, because she would still think of him as a friend in the end. I think that. I think that. So, no, we're just talking about, trying to see, did Jarvis Butts have help? And no, I don't think that she helped him. Not at all. Not at all. And Talisha Moore. Now, remember, that's when him and King had went a little out of town to drop off the car to her mother, which was King's son's grandmother. So this is the aunt of King's son, Talisha Moore. I don't think she had anything to do with it either. She said she'd only seen Jarvis like 1 or 2 times, all concerning vehicles. So she's not around him. She's not with him. Though I see a lot of people try to throw her in the mix. I don't see where she can be thrown in the mix at all. She got up there. She said her testimony. Basically, I think they wanted her up there on the preliminary because she seen Naziah. She was one of the last people to see Naziah. That's why I believe they wanted her on the stand, because she pretty much seen Naziah mainly hours before whatever happened to Naziah happened. She's seen her hours before. So no, I don't. Now that brings us to Cordell Wright, aka King. Oh my goodness, a lot of people said they believe King was behind it because, yeah, King has a criminal record too. King actually had to be on stand with the matching jumpsuit because he was incarcerated at the same time. King was his boy. Now, one thing I kind of do believe, King knew a little something about Jarvis. He probably knew he wasn't right. He probably had speculations he was messing around with younger girls. He probably knew that. I mean, it's like a full circle, how they switch and swap and share the same type of female. So he probably knew to that extent. But was he involved in helping Jarvis if there was a deceased body to put somewhere? No. And the only reason why I don't believe is because, again, he was on tether. He had a certain amount of time to get back home. And a lot of people in the comments, I'm going basically on my comments, when King did his preliminary testimony, a lot of people said he had something to do with it. They don't care. Well, I don't care neither, but I don't think that he had anything to do with it. Again, he was on tether, meaning they track his footsteps. If in fact Naziah is deceased and he needed to help get this body moved somewhere, they could go right to where they put Naziah. It's that simple. It's that easy. So that's why I don't think he had anything to do with it, because he was on tether. That's an ankle monitor. So trust me, that ankle monitor saved his ass from being involved in anything, because the way Jarvis was throwing shade, or I should say having his lawyers throw shade at King and his own sister, was ridiculous. But not one time did they throw shade at Shannon and Annette. And while we're on the conversation, his sister, Tijuana Butts, the way she was on that stand, how heartbroken, sad, upset, guilt-ridden, everything that she was on that stand. No, I don't think she has anything to do with it. Remember, how can she? She's the one that actually called and said that her brother, who is a pedophile, was around a child. The minute she found out that they was perpetrating, like this was his niece, and Tijuana doesn't know all his children, but the ones that she did know, and she knew that that was not her niece. She knew that. So she's the one that called. That's why everybody jumped on her and got in her inbox and got in family members, Butts family members that don't even, deal with Jarvis. There's family members that we don't deal with, and we all share the same last name. And they were ragging other family members based on just the last name. So no, I don't think Tijuana had anything to do with it. Absolutely not. King or Tijuana Butts, I don't think so. The fiance, the girlfriend, I don't think so. Now, my best bet, I'm still sticking with the Harris family. I'm still sticking with them. And you guys, the only reason why I'm still sticking with the Harris family is solely because even though it was a preliminary interview, they were so vague and they weren't really saying what they should have been saying. Or I should say, the lawyers, the counsel there wasn't really saying what they needed to say, but maybe they're saving all of this. The reason why is because these women actually sat there and said that they did not think or they did not know that Naziah was pregnant. And remember what Judge Aaliyah Seabury said. She said, how can women that have had children before, have given birth, not know that this child was pregnant? So yeah, I think they were covering up a lot. That's one thing that they were doing. They knew this man was in this house. They said he never comes in the house, but we all proved it, that he was in the house on birthdays and other days. And like the judge said, he stayed lurking around that house to where he was even able to be in her room when she wasn't there and get a pair of her panties. So they were covering from him to the very end. To the very end. Which means it's not because they love him so much, which means that they may have, with a capital M, may have been involved in something. And that's why I can't wait until this trial starts so we can see just how deep the Harris family is involved. And I have two hooded people here, a hooded female and a hooded male. Because did Jarvis get help? Now, Jarvis has a selection of various women that seem like they're willing to look the other way when he does stuff. So could the Detroit Police Department, to my knowledge and from the jailhouse phone calls, they went to all Jarvis's women and they got subpoenas and search warrants. Could another woman have been involved? Could another woman have helped him? You know, I'm a little bit doubtful at that. I think they rounded up pretty much all the women. They used his cell phone records and stuff like that. So I don't really think another woman is involved. And I didn't put Marquita up here, but when I say the Harris family, that's collectively Grandma Annette and the twins. So I don't think, again, that another woman is involved. Now, another male. Remember, we went over that in one of the other videos. And if it is another male, like let's say, and I hate to say this, but we're all adults here. So let's say that Naziah was sold or given into the sex trafficking business, which is not a hard stretch. If you remember my video, Pimps to Pedo, he was about that life in the beginning. So if Naziah went into a trafficking industry, which is a business, Naziah is going to be sold from male after male after male. And then when that baby, if she did have a baby, the baby should be born now, right? That baby would have either been sold or it would have been, the life of that baby would have been ended. Or, you know, that's for the people that think that she was somewhere with her baby. She's somewhere raising her baby. You know, that's for those type of people. If that was to happen, Naziah would immediately be separated from that baby. That baby would have been sold to somebody for either horrible purposes or maybe a family that wanted to love that baby. Stuff like that happens too. But I just don't think it got that far. I don't think Naziah is somewhere. And if she is, again, somewhere, she is in a trafficking industry. And people will say stuff. This is how I know people are naive. And it's not their fault that they don't know this much. It's, you know, it's not a good thing to think and have this on your mind. You know what I mean? But if she was sold into a trafficking industry, then people would be like, oh, they see Naziah. She's nationwide. They know this, they know that. They will call the police. No. The bid for Naziah is even harder. They could have Naziah in a room. And she could be in that room for months, for years. just servicing people, and that's it. And they'll show the flyer. Yes, this is the girl that's missing. This is the girl that they feel is presumed dead. This is her. It goes up. It's a seedy, disgusting world. The bid and offer to be with Neziah sexually, it goes up now. Because she is wanted. This is how they feel in that type of industry. It is. I don't even want to go there, but it is. That's why I said in my last video, I hope she is resting in peace. Didn't have to deal with that, her and her departed child. No, no, no. So I don't think that there's another man that was involved in this. I think my personal opinions, and I want to hear yours. I will love to hear yours. My personal opinions is it's still with that Harris family. It's still with Annette, and it's still with Shannon. It is. I think they know. They were living with her. They seen her on the daily. They seen her pregnant. They seen everything. They seen everything. They seen text messages that Shannon, pretended she didn't see. Jarvis, Ramon Butts, stay the fuck away from me. Yes, she's seen it. She knew. She knew what was going on. She knew. So I still believe that. Yeah, guys. Wow. The court date is coming up soon. It's coming up soon. I hope they get it in. I hope they do it like they said in October. And I hope everybody that was a part of this girl's disappearance and ultimately her demise, I hope that everyone is held accountable. I do. And I want to say one last thing about the premeditated charge that he got. So we all know that Neziah got off the school bus, and pretty much Annette's statement was very vague about her not even wanting to search for a, quote, little girl who does the right thing and is well liked. She didn't even want to search for her when she came up missing, which is very strange. Even the judge said her testimony was very iffy, to say the least. So if that was premeditated and he actually did plan to end her life, then that means that he knew exactly where he was going to put her. Maybe he was going to give her something to drink so that the fetus is gone, right? And then murder her. I guess that's where they're going with this. So that means the Harris family knew, because they gave him ample enough time to do so by not calling the police. Annette took the rest of the foster kids up to school and then, just asked, hey, did you guys see Neziah yesterday? She didn't come home. And they're like, what? And then they called the police for her. So she didn't even call the police. They called the police. So if this was a premeditated situation, then somebody else needs to be charged as well. Someone else knows something. We'll be finding out soon. Until then, justice for Neziah.